7-6. Starters Matthew Boyd and Trevor Bauer each gave up 5 earned runs, but Detroit was doomed late by a diving catch by Tyler Naquin in right field and a go-ahead triple by Jason Kipnis, sending the Tigers to their 13th loss in their last 17 games. Shortstop Jordy Mercer is expected to begin a rehab assignment in Toledo today. Last night, the Red Wings had the 6th pick in the draft for the second year in a row, but first time under new GM Steve Yzerman, who went off the board with his selection, according to the NHL Network.
With the 6th pick in the draft, the Detroit Red Wings select from Mannheim of the DEL, Moritz Seider.
You can hear the reaction here in this arena, and we're smiling because, you know what, Steve Yzerman alluded to this earlier. This is where at 6 things get interesting because the rankings and ratings, well, they're all over the place once you get past maybe the 5 or 6.
The German defenseman will head to Detroit. Yzerman says Mo will make pressure plays, and fans will be pleasantly surprised by what he can bring to the team. No surprise at number 1, as 18-year-old phenom Jack Hughes was selected by the Devils, only the 8th top pick from the United States in the history of the NHL Draft. From a Ticket Update desk, I'm Chris Villar. For more, go to 971theticket.com.
Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed. Alongside of me, Harry Glantz.
Morning, everybody. Hi, Harv. How you doing? It's been a while. A couple weeks.
It has been a couple weeks, Harry. June 22nd. Yeah, you disappear for just only, one show?
Disappear like Harry Houdini.
Exactly.
Disappear. That's what I do. I just disappear.
Handling the corporate business, out of town, all that important
all
stuff.
All that fun stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. But, hey, look who we brought in. Becky Alley. There she is.
Hey,
awesome.
Present. I took a freaking hand glider to get here, but I made it.
Yeah, right. Becky made the panic call on the way and said, Harvey, they are dead stopped here on Southfield Freeway. And Michelle Sayward's behind me. There she is. Hey, Michelle, how's it going?
Good.
Michelle Sayward, of course, from eXp Realty, the queen of Downriver. I mean, you are everything down there. We're going to get in and brag about you, but it's just not smoke and mirrors. It's different with you. You're the real deal, and we're going to talk all about that this morning.
Well, Harvey, she's a pro. Okay, so it works like this. She's a pro. She does business. She's used to doing a lot of business. And in order to do a lot of business, there's a saying, if you want something done right, give it to a busy person.
Yes.
If everybody thinks about that, why would you give something, a project, want to sell your house to somebody that's not busy? If they're not, it's like going to a restaurant on a Saturday night without reservations at 7:30.
And they sit you down?
And you get right in.
Oh, no.
I don't know. I'm just saying. But anyways, you have to give, somebody who's busy all the time, what does that mean? They know how to get things done. Michelle's a pro. She gets stuff done. She sells a lot of houses. And the market's hot right now. It's still hot, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it really is. And one of the things I wrote down and I wanted to talk about today is buyers' perception of what's going on in the market versus what is reality.
We talk about that all the time, perception versus reality. Tell us about it.
And because it's competitive, how to write a killer offer. Like, I think buyers and other real estate agents, really, if they could just tune in to what the seller wants and how to make it super attractive to win, I think that'll benefit just everyone on the that's listening.
And part of that comes from the fact that of working with professionals that we talk about all the time. Get with the right team of people. And part of what Michelle's able to bring to the table when she's a buyer's agent or even a listing agent is she can reach out to that listing agent and say, hey, I have this buyer. This is what we're bringing to the table. What do you need? What does your seller need to walk? It's having that conversation up front, but also she has that reputation on the street, which is huge. And she also has that respect with the agents where they're willing to open up and have those conversations.
Yeah, I mean, it comes from having good conversations, good rapport with your client. What's your client's needs? What's the seller's needs? And how do you position yourself for a win?
But that's the key. It's not always the highest price, right? It's not. Maybe they want to stay there an extra 45 days. Maybe they don't want to move out for 60 days. Right. It's not always, can you close me in 17 days, right? So you have to find, and that's what you said, you have to tune into what that seller really wants. And if you give the seller what they really want, and again, everybody out there, it's not always price.
Right.
It could be occupancy. It could be a lot of different variables, which you'll go over. But it's setting that seller up for success, even though you're working for the buyer.
Right. So Becky and I were chatting earlier this week, which has sort of like led to this domino conversation about the market has been just upward trending for, so many years now, right?
Like 8 years.
8 years. And the buyer's perception is that they must pay full price or better, or they're not going to get this house.
Yeah,
right.
They got to come in as hot as we came in this parking lot. 10 grand over asking.
But we're
rolling on two wheels.
Rolling on two wheels. And so that's exactly right. Or they're not going to win. And so some of these properties, it's either they're multiple bids or they're sitting. There's no in between. So if you're not listed at the right price, you're going to sit stagnant because buyers don't even think they have a shot at negotiating. They've not been trained for 8 years to have flexibility.
Right,
in
a lot
an
of them
offer.
are new to the marketplace. Clear and concise communication. I love
Yeah.
that you're immediately you meet somebody, you're working with them, they want to make an offer. You call the listing agent and say, "What is it going to take?"
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. To find out what it is that's going to make the seller happy. Is it okay? Great. My clients have flexibility, like you said, Harry, on occupancy. Okay, we could work with that because we still have a home to sell. Couple other, points that I wanted to go through is, you can do the standard stuff that any good agent should be recommending to your buyer, which is like, Becky, you see this all the time, writing appraisal guarantee language in contracts.
Right, which can be tricky. So there's a right way to write that language, and there's a wrong way sometimes where it can get a little confusing, and it can almost put your buyer on the hook for more.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that
Let's talk about that.
specifically because that's a big thing right now.
Yes.
So
It's
is.
a huge thing right now with appraisals because, we're coming out of the winter time. I know everybody thinks it's summertime, which was yesterday.
Right.
Not
Yay,
real-
having
not-
second day
not-
of summer.
Yeah, not really because we haven't had a spring or summer here yet. Coming out of the winter, we're still seeing appraisals come in on a few appraisals under the purchase price.
Sure.
So what do we do?
Yeah. So if they're coming in light, if you're wanting to position to win, I would recommend writing an offer that states purchaser will pay X amount above, any deficient appraisal, not to exceed contract price of blank.
Perfect.
So you're not on the hook for limitless amounts. Like if this thing's supposed to appraise for $300,000 and it only coming in at $250, ouch! You got your down payment, your closing costs plus an additional $50,000. That might not work in that situation.
Right.
But if you say not to exceed $300,000, okay, cool. So there's you can work within the parameters of that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of blanks on a purchase agreement. Well, let me say there's not that many blanks. There's about 7 to 10 blanks that are required to be filled out. But the most important section, where's additional comments, that's where you can really put in, like we said, whether you're going to do this appraisal guarantee with a maximum amount that you're willing to pay potentially $5,000, but not to exceed X.
Correct.
Well, there are people out there listening right now, and they're thinking, what do you mean? What do you mean I'm going to pay over and above the purchase price, over and above the appraisal value? What does that really mean to me? What that means to you is that if you want that house and you're set on that house, you might have to pay a little bit more, or you might have to pay above the appraised value.
Right.
But understand, we'll do the loan. Michelle will sell you the house. We'll do the loan, but you're going to have to come up with the difference. You're going to have to come up with that. And I hate to use this term. I'm putting up air quotes. Extra money. It's not extra money. If you want the house, you're going to have to pay for that house.
It's because the market is moving faster than appraisers can keep up.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it. Buyers and sellers decide the price on a home. That creates market value. It's
But that's
not what happened 6 months ago, 3 months ago, which is what an appraiser is going to sink his teeth into. It's what you are comparison shopping and seeing right now.
Yeah.
So that's stepping up to the plate. And there's other little things you can do as a buyer in presenting your offer. Have your agent show a copy of your bank statement with your offer. Black out your account number.
Which I think that's interesting. I mean, when you did mention that, you hear about the
Show you
the
got the money.
letters, the family letters, like we really love your house and things
can't
like.
do that.
So
It's like discrimination.
right. So if you're like, we really love your house, and
We might get into that just a smidge there
Right?
to find
Right,
out
yeah, I do want-
what's allowed and not allowed.
yeah, I do want to hear that. But the whole like submitting your bank statement just to verify your assets. I mean,
Well,
so,
along with that pre-approval letter.
Yes.
correct.
Okay,
So
along with that
from-
pre-approval
Yes.
letter.
So for the buyers
From Capital Mortgage.
So when you're
you.
working with a reputable lender, okay, sometimes your offer might get pulled ahead because of your pre-approval and the fact that the listing agent is comfortable with the lending institution. Just this week, I've had 3 accepted offers that were pulled ahead just because they knew my name and they were comfortable with Capital Mortgage Funding. And I've heard of 2 other colleagues in my office. Again, that happens with other mortgage companies. I understand that. But a part of that is, having those reputations so that way we can have these conversations. So a listing agent has an offer. They're going to call me and they're going to say, Becky, I need to know how qualified is this buyer within the parameters that I'm able to disclose information. And my conversation is they're very well qualified, they've been vetted, I have all the income documentation, and I have a DU approval. What that means is that I've ran it through our automated system and we have an approved eligible upon other, underwriting conditions. But the listing agents are going to call us and ask us those questions. So what Michelle's saying, even more so, is to submit these bank statements so that way the listing agent probably doesn't even need to call me at that point.
I mean, Becky, if I called you and said, I'm looking at Mr. Smith's bank statement here, he's got to show me a copy of, proof of funds that he's liquid well enough.
Yeah, this guy's good to go.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys, we got so much to share with you this morning. Keep it here on 97 on the Ticket all morning long. When we come back, all your calls, 248-539-9797.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Danberg for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Grosse Ile, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Welcome back to the show, 929. Good morning. If you're just turning us on here, we got the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We are powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. We bring it to you. We get your files closed, that's for sure.
They always close, Harvey.
They always close, Harry.
I don't want to hear about it. They always close.
If you don't have any snags in your files, you're probably not doing enough business because, as we mentioned, the moving parts bit, there are so many different things in a transaction and a lot of people involved in a transaction. And what I pose is the question, do you need to hire a real estate agent? Oh, you bet. Here's some of the benefits. Why? They save time and energy, there's no doubt. Not only can they find you a house in your price range, they know the market. They have the access to all the people. And one other thing that came out years ago, the pocket listings. Knowing the community, knowing the pocket listings out there is just completely vital to your success as a homeowner and finding that right house.
That is definitely true. And when you're the listing agent, you like to have your property as exposed to as many possible buyers as possible. I mean, my preference isn't necessarily to sell my own listings. My preference is to get the best buyer for my client's house. And that's something that I think is best by when you have a property that's out there for everybody to look at. But then there's also people who are like, I'm not ready to have 100 people traipsing through my house. And then it's kind of like a marriage that you're working on.
Yeah, we talk about that, right? If it's hardwood floors and the owner of the house appears to be walking with dirty shoes on, but you take off your shoes in a house and you do the proper thing. Hey, definitely want to tap into the knowledge of your real estate agent. If you're working with some agents out there now and you're not tapping into their knowledge, they're not sharing any new information, that's probably not the right agent for you. That would be a key giveaway right there.
Well, look, in life, you have to hire experts in what they do for a living. If you don't sell houses and you're selling your house, and you work for a living, hire somebody that does that for a living. It's philosophically. I'm not saying that you can't sell a house by yourself, but it's not as easy as everybody thinks. That's why I think the stat is somewhere in the 92% of all houses that are sold by a realtor.
There you go.
So you have to go ahead. You have to hire an expert. You're just going to get more money that way for your house. I mean, it's a proven fact. I mean, the statistics don't lie. Now, again, there's always exceptions to every rule, but by and large, the vast majority of homes in the United States are sold with the help of a real estate agent. It's just.
At no charge, at National Artist Performances every week. Get more info on Musictown Detroit at musictowndetroit.com. Now available for download. Always Aggravated, a Mike Valenti signature podcast. Get it on radio.com and Apple iTunes. 97.1 The Ticket.
well, welcome back to the show, 9:14. Yes, we are brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, a 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker, always powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS.
Number 2289, Equal Housing Lender. And Harvey, it's so funny you mentioned that because, a couple weeks ago we had Liz, our corporate counsel, Liz Steinhaus. She's in here, and she didn't want to be on the radio, but she wanted to hang out, and it was fun, and she always does. But when I say she didn't want to talk, some people just don't want to talk. So attorneys are trained. They listen, and then a couple weeks later, they tell you what they really think, right? So I went to dinner with Liz, who's an awesome person, and she's the greatest. And then she hits me up yesterday. She says, make sure you tell Harvey.
The compliance.
Say, it's the compliance part of her to mention
Equal Housing Lender.
NMLS number 2289. Equal Housing Lender. So there you go, Harv. So
we got it in. Hey, we take all your
snaps for Harvey.
And we take all your calls here. 248-539-9797.
We always have somebody watching us. So
there's a watchdog.
Well, you think I watch you? Somebody's watching me too.
Everyone's watching somebody, right?
That's right.
Is owning a home beneficial? Oh, you bet it is. One day you could use that equity to do improvements, pay your kids through college, pay your income tax bills. But of course, one day, Michelle, you could own the house free and clear, have a roof over your head, and as you're getting to retirement age with lower cash flow, here you own a house free and clear. So home ownership is extremely beneficial to you. How do we always know that? Well, the investors are buying up the houses again, Michelle.
Yeah.
Nothing's left for our first-time home buyers. And when you're a first-time home buyer, you better have the best team, real estate team, and lenders involved because you're fighting against now those investors' offers, and they have very deep pockets.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is quite competitive, out there for home buyers, period. First time, second time. It can be even difficult for that second home purchase because you're liquidating the first one that you've got. So I think the playing field is still pretty tough for anybody out there right now. So that's why I wanted to give, a few more pointers. There's another big one here about how to write a strong offer that I think can really be considered, which is, we talked briefly about this, Harvey, about standard language on a contract is that you would do your private home inspection and then order the appraisal, right?
Right.
Okay. And you typically have 5 or 10 days to do your private home inspection. And then Becky's over here tapping her fingers. Let me know when you're good, and I can just get this thing rolling and get the appraisal ordered.
Right.
And then suddenly Becky's like stressing out because her timeline has been condensed from 30 days on a contract down to like 15 or whatever, or 20 to get it done, right? And then everyone's upset because it took a long time to close and the appraisal came in low and yada, your contract extension. Like, if it's a good, nice, well put together house, like you mentioned, like you just had one was new construction or something, people should still do inspections. But nonetheless, one of the things that your real estate agent can suggest is switching the order on that. So do the appraisal first, and then within so many days of satisfactory inspection report coming back, appraisal will be ordered. Inspection will be ordered.
Right,
so do appraisal first, then inspection.
Many reasons why. Let's tell them a couple. Let's point out a couple of these reasons.
So this is like a buyer's 101 right now. So any new buyers out there, you're frustrated, you feel like your offers have been overlooked. Right now, Michelle is tuning in directly to you to, maybe even you can talk to your agent that you're working with. If you're not working with an agent, call Michelle. She's right now giving you these transparent pointers on what's going to make you stand out on your purchase agreements and get your offers accepted outside of other people's.
Little golden nuggets.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you were to do your appraisal first, Harry's like, give me the why. If you were to do your appraisal first and then do the home inspection, let's cut to the chase on the number, right? We all know that the appraisals are a big problem right now. We just talked about in the beginning half of this, of this show. So let's cut to the chase. Let's know what the numbers are, because if the numbers aren't coming in right on the valuation of the home, why are you going to drop another $400 and get it into a home inspection when you just dropped $400 on an appraisal a minute ago?
Exactly.
Right.
So if
not every case, but many cases, if we think this house is a solid house,
good condition,
we're in a bidding war.
Yeah, it's up to city code. You're in a bidding war. It's perfect. It's beautiful. You can't see anything that would be wrong. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those.
Right. So it's like the chicken and the egg, Michelle. I'm sitting over here thinking, okay, let's put it in the reverse order. The buyers don't want to spend the money. So what happens is if you say to them, hey, listen, if you just reverse the order, they're going to spend the $400 either way. If they spend on the inspection, and it doesn't come out, then they don't have to spend the $400 on the appraisal.
And most people negotiate it during the inspection period anyway.
Right. So this way, listen, if you reverse the order and you say to yourself, okay, I want to lock the house up. Now, remember, it's contingent on appraisal and inspection. So whatever the order is, it doesn't really matter is what we're trying to tell you. And you're going to be spending the same $400 either way.
Yeah.
And if you go forward with it, then you're going to spend the additional money for the inspection and or the appraisal, whatever order you go in. So
Right.
all this is doing, what Michelle's pointing out is, it's just changing up the order. It's like changing the batting order. Are you just changing it up and to see where if an appraisal is an issue or could be an issue, then you do that one first. If you think an inspection's an issue, maybe you do that one
Correct.
first. But all it does is it opens up the area of a thought process.
Yeah.
Switch up the thought process, see what works for you.
Eat the frog early in the morning.
Right. Eat it,
Get it over
eat
with.
early. Yeah, right.
Now-
Don't
now,
wait till
Michelle.
later in the day. It tastes worse later in the day.
Exactly.
I'm thinking of all these scenarios in my head right now. And one time, so I want to come up with, and I agree with you, I've loved this for a lot of transactions, especially when the houses are in very good shape, when you have knowledgeable people.
Yeah.
Hey, you can go through the house and take a peek at the attic. You can see what's going on. You can check the foundation, evidence of water in the basement.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of things. In
Take
fact,
a little more time on your initial showing.
yeah, why not spend a little more time? And we've already discussed the fact in the past that a lot of sellers now are presenting all the work they've done to the house.
Yeah.
Hey, I bought it 5 years ago, Harvey. I fixed it up. Here's a list of the items. I redid the furnace. I did this. I did that.
But nobody's saying here to waive an inspection.
No one's really
Nobody's saying that. Nobody. So if you don't drive off the road yet, we have not said waive an inspection. You guys know, everybody out there, how we feel about the inspection situation. You need an inspection on that house.
Michelle, let's agree too, Becky. Most inspections come back. Let's just say most. Let's just say they're okay. But then, even if they're not okay, let's just agree that it's between $1,000 and $3,000 worth of potential deficiencies or money that's needed to make it right.
Right.
Or less.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or
guess
I
what?
think it's less more times than
It's
not,
probably been
obviously.
less.
But yeah.
But now
right.
you already know what it appraised for, and you already had a big chunk of the financial conversation.
If I know the roof is funky, then I could use my inspection money, $400, to have the roofing company come over here and start fixing the roof versus the inspector to come over and say, hey, that roof is funky.
Right.
Well, I already know that. There's already water leaking. I can see it.
Right.
All right, interesting. Think it out again. It's just not something that's blanket for everybody.
No.
You sit down with your team and figure out how this is going to work and benefit
Well, because
you.
it's not, it's against, people are just so used to doing the same thing. I'm going to do the inspection and, but now it's like if you say you're going to do your inspection in 3 days, ooh, that stands out, So she's just doing an unconventional way of just shaking it up and that's what it's going to take because like we were talking about before, it's not necessarily a seller's market right now and nor is it a buyer's market. We're in this in between stages and it's almost like each transaction is different or each home is different, whether it's going to be seller, buyer kind of pull.
Look, the
But that's
appraisal.
all setting up for the win, like you said. It's just you have your notes. You're setting it up for the win for
Right.
your buyer.
Let's face it, the appraisals right now can make or break a transaction, period. Home inspection stuff is usually stuff you can move and groove with. Like I even know roofing companies like what you just mentioned that will do a paid at closing. Like, you know what I mean? Like if there's equity there, something you can work with, like there's things that can be done.
Right. You usually get the right people involved. There's no doubt. How to make your purchase more positive. It starts with your knowledge, the process, responsibilities, a skilled mortgage person helping you, giving you some options, a skilled, reputable real estate agent. If you're working with a team, okay, fantastic. The leaders of that team have to get some information down to you. That confidence, it's all about the education. I got some other things written in here that I'll talk about, but we want to hear from you. 248-539-9797. We'll take your calls all morning long. I know Ronnie Jacobs is at the office with our entire staff.
Ronnie J.
Ronnie J is there. And definitely, if you need a strong approval letter, give us a call. If you're looking to refinance with these unbelievable mortgage rates, we'll talk a little bit about that also. 248-539-9797. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, I want to hear, from like any buyers out there right now, like where, you feel like you're just, I know a couple people where they just feel like they're beat down, but it's not as bad as it was last summer, or a couple summers ago, but they're still feeling like they're getting overlooked. And I want them to call in and kind of just give us their perspective because obviously we do this every day. So we've seen every scenario, almost every situation, but obviously everyone's situation is different. So I do want to hear about what is that making you frustrated or what you feel that you did that made your offer stand out, just so we can kind of bounce some ideas back and forth because it is all about your perception as well. So we're looking at your angle through our eyes, but it's different from your perspective on the other side of the table. So if you're listening out there, give us a call because I do want to hear about that stuff.
All right. One other popular thing, of course, those listings that get stuck on the marketplace forever. They're just something
Oh, yeah, that's a good one,
nasty
yeah.
about them. You know, the sellers want to get top dollar because they can't move forward. So the house is just sitting there. Well, these renovation loans, the FHA 203K loan, Freddie Mac has a product now. Fannie Mae has the Home Path loan. There's lots of them out there. These are great opportunities, but not for everybody out there. Yeah, if there's multiple bid situation, you're not doing a renovation loan on this. No one has 45 days. And how these transactions work, if you're a handyman and you want to do the work yourself, well, this isn't the loan for you. But in many situations, if you've got a house out there, it's a little bit of a stinker. Yes, sit down with your professionals, find out how you can market it a little bit differently, because a lot of times, hey, it just needs $20,000, and that's where the market is. So again, if there's equity in your neighborhood, but your house hasn't been updated and it's going to take a whole lot of money, you don't have that money, you can't get it sold, these renovation loans do fall into the help a lot of people.
Yeah, what you were saying with like the renovations too, just to kind of make a point, we do the renovation loans, but you cannot do the work yourself. It does have to be by a licensed, bonded, insured company.
There you go. All right, lots of mortgage and real estate answers when we come back. It's 9:25. Keep it here on the ticket, 248-539-9797. Alrighty, welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed. Alongside of me, filling in for Mr. Glenn, John Cole.
What's up, guys?
There
How
he
you
is
doing today.
Spartan proud, of course.
This group just got considerably younger. We got rid of Grandpa and we brought in Kyle.
There you go. And of course, John brings in Kyle Lang with Remax. That is at Dream Properties, right?
Yes, sir.
You guys are in Northville, one of the most happening cities around Southeast Michigan, maybe in the whole state. Still.
Northville, Livonia, which is on fire right now, and then we have our Lyon Township office as well.
We are actually talking, and we're going to dive into all of this. Thanks for joining us. Of course, we are sponsored by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, and we have a full staff all weekend long. Definitely call us at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Get a very strong approval letter. Get yourself set up and organized to purchase a house. Jen, we're going to talk about all that today. But we talked about some of the walkable cities, as we have been mentioning, of course, over the last several years. Yeah. Northville's dynamite. You got your Plymouth over there. Livonia's a spread out city, but it's got its little pockets there in a really cool little civic center area.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Everyone, a lot of young families right now especially are telling me we want to be in Livonia. Property values are a little bit less than in Northville or Plymouth. And there's so much stuff that the city of Livonia has to offer. All their rec leagues, their sports leagues, everything like that for kids, and then great public schools as well.
Yeah, the schools are dynamite. Always had that tradition. We had that tradition here in Southeast Michigan, of course, all over their great state. But that we have great, public schools always. And, of course, great colleges and private institutions and a lot of opportunities out there, John.
It's unbelievable right now. This year opened up with a bang starting on January 6th. I mean, it was a great beginning of the year. And we've had strong going forward. We've got great realtors out there, selling properties for the right price, buying properties for the right price. It's just not what it was in the past, and it's a great opportunity for anybody who wants to get out there, and especially with rates trending downward a little bit. I hate to say that, knock on some wood.
Yeah, for sure. We'll keep that moving in the right direction. All eyes on the Fed as the stock market is obviously, it's been back and forth, but it's been a little on the stronger side the last couple of weeks, 6 or 8 positive days. Of course, the Fed funds, they're going to be meeting, FOMC is going to meet again next week and see what's going on. I mean, we'll talk a little bit about the trade talks, of course, the whole tariffs against China and stuff. This is very, very sticky situation, and rates could jump up pretty quickly too, John.
Oh, they jump up a lot quicker than they go down.
Yeah.
So if you get an opportunity, you get a good rate that you like, lock it in. Make sure you're protected. There's always a way to, if rates go down dramatically after you're locked in, most companies will let you renegotiate. I know we.
Brought to you by the LaFontaine Automotive Group, the family deal.
All
Ready? Welcome back to the show. 9:29. If you're just joining us, that is summer outside. That's right, going up to 78 degrees. Little patchy clouds. On today, get that boat
Hey,
out.
spoiler alert! It's not raining today.
There she is. Yeah, you got to tune to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate
I
Business
was
Show.
building an ark.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
started
How's that
building
going?
an ark. It's still
Yeah.
sitting in my backyard.
Right.
You know, the animals were lining up to get on the ark. Then all of a sudden, the sun came out for 2 days.
That's what that thing is. But definitely get out there and enjoy. Be careful out there on the waterways and on the golf course. You definitely don't want to get hit by a stray
Yeah, the
shot.
weather makes you want to like do some high kicks, and I don't have a good kicking radius, but I do want to do a high kick or two.
I'll give you a good
I'm
kick.
with
How about
you.
this one? Existing home sales broke a 2-month slump. Would you believe that, Michelle? Yep, May rising 2.5%. All 4 regions of the United States showed an increase in appreciation. Appreciation average 4.6%, and the average sales price of a house $280,200.
Yay, snaps.
See?
Hey, that sounds good. If
There
you
you go.
buy a house, you have an opportunity to write off the interest, own it free and clear one day, let it build equity for you. You can use that equity to do different things in life. And just one day, you can own that house free and clear and have a roof over your head. Because one day,
Yeah.
Harry, even you're going to retire one day, maybe.
Nope.
No, you maybe
Never.
I'm going
Not
to retire.
retiring,
He
ever.
probably won't, but I
Never
will.
gonna retire.
And you want to be able to go out and enjoy life. And of course, it's
But
all
that's the
about cash
problem.
flow.
But see, that's the problem. I don't do anything well enough to retire. The only thing I do well is work.
That's it.
Okay,
Your
And-
ceramic
yeah,
hobby.
and I'm good with it, and I don't mind it. And people say, "Well, what are you working at?" Because I like it.
It's fun.
Because I like doing it. That's why.
So you're talking about, like equity in houses are appreciating. So something I want to touch on again that we kind of always reiterate: you do not need 20% for a down payment
No
in
way.
order to get into a house.
Right.
Right now, we are in an appreciating market. People think that PMI or mortgage insurance is the devil, and it's almost, you have to look at it where that maybe $60 a month is allowing you to put minimum down, keep that money in your bank, and you're allowing your home to work for you, because again, we're in an appreciating market. So that way you can put in the new furnace if you need it. You can get renovate the house. You can do what you need. You don't need to liquefy your assets and put yourself in a position where if emergency did happen, you don't have it. And I'm talking to the first-time home buyers especially, because it's not the payments that they fear. We're not dealing with, I can't deal with this $1,200 payment. It's, how am I going to come up with this $7,000? How am I going to come up with this $5,000?
That's a great point.
So,
Everybody
yes.
says that.
It's not the
because
payment.
They're paying rent, all right? They're paying
Yep.
rent now. Let's just use a round number, say $1,000 a month rent, right? Everybody says, I can pay the $1,000, and I know you can get me into a house where the mortgage payment is around $1,000, but hey, Harry, Michelle, Becky, and Harvey, I don't have 10 grand to put down on the house.
Yeah.
All right. What do I do? There are things that you can help. Becky, you and Harvey, you help people out every day, and you figure out a way to make sure they get in a house.
Yes, it's having those conversations up front always.
Yeah, the Michelin loans are fantastic, and we'll talk about that. And of course, Beck, you mentioned zero down. The VA opportunities are out there. USDA loans are fantastic, zero down.
Yeah.
But 3% down conventional loans are for everybody now. There's not geographic locations on those anymore. Again, there's special programs that you can get in very little down. All right, let's go to some calls. 248-539-9797. Let's move off to Mike in Wyoming. I think that's where you're from. Good morning, Mike. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. It's Wyandotte.
Oh, Wyandotte. There you go, sir.
Wyoming.
There is
Cut
a
off.
Wyoming. It's by
There's a
Wyoming.
Wyoming.
There is,
It's
but-
cut off on my end. My mistake. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I've just been kind of looking at some home. I've had a home before. I sold it. I'm in an apartment now. I've been looking again. Kind of a handyman, so looking, for stuff I can maybe do some repairs myself. But I did come across a house in Southgate. The houses in the neighborhood are selling for between like $90,000-$95,000. This one was listed for $62,000. I looked into it a little bit, and the reason is because it needs $20,000 worth of basement renovations or foundation problems. I saw a repair bill estimate from a contractor that the realtor showed me. I just wondered, is there any type of loans out there that would allow you to finance the house and get those repairs done?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it earlier. We have the, 203K, depending on what financing you're going to qualify for. The thing, though, is I did hear you say you're a handyman, you kind of are a do-it-yourselfer. In those kinds of situations, you do have to hire that work out. You're not allowed to complete the work yourself, but absolutely, we can put you in a situation, look at everything and make sure you qualify for that. But we do have those kind of products that would assist you with that for sure.
What about a repair escrow in something like this? He's got the quote. What do you
Too
think?
much money would have to be put up in
Would it-
advance, and where would the money come from?
Oh, okay.
So that
I didn't
becomes
know
a
if it
situation.
would be held with the contractor. that was on the quote.
Potentially. Hey, Mike, I got a question for you. The heavy lifting stuff, so a big project for the waterproofing of the basement or the foundation issue. Let's suppose you bought the house and you were able to get the renovation loan, and then your skills are used for everything else in the house. So you can do everything else cosmetically to the house. If you want to, after you close, redo the kitchen and the bathrooms, you're good with that stuff. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Yeah, I would not be able to handle the foundation. I would just don't have.
Okay.
You know, if I paid $62 for the house, I don't have $20,000 to have the basement fixed.
Hey, Mike, I'll tell you what. That's Michelle's turf. I think right after this show, I think Becky's going to give you a call and follow up with you. Yeah. I mean, maybe we could put together something where you can make an offer today, especially if the house has been on the market for a while. They just haven't came across the right buyer, a guy like Mike who can make this work.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. With the time on market, that could be to your favor.
Hey, Mike, we'll follow
definitely think
up.
we can make that work for you.
Yeah, right after the show, we're going to give you a call today. I appreciate that, Mike. It's a great call. Hey, what an opportunity. Let's just suppose he gets it for 62. So 20, we're at 82. He does all the work. I mean, this is now becoming a brand new house. It's got a great basement. It's probably a ranch in Southgate. Generally, ranches over there. Maybe it's a brick ranch for that matter. Wyandotte. This could be a great opportunity for him.
You know, and there are so few opportunities like this. So, you know, I know he was saying, okay, fixed up and done, it might be in the 90s. But again, with the market coming up as much as it's been coming up, that just might be, okay, might not be the accurate number. He might find himself at the end of the day with a greater valuation, you know, depending on the quality of work that it, you know, what it turns out to be.
Yeah, that'd be a great setup, you know, like for someone for you to reach out to because of your out of the box thinking mentality. You know, it's going to put him in a good situation. And like you were saying before, like some buyers, like they just aren't even making, you know,
they're not making offers.
They're not making the offers because they, you know, and you're just like, come on, just throw a rock at me. See, you know, open that door.
I'm sure that homeowner is so sick and tired about hearing about the stupid basement.
Right.
Clearly, they've got a quote for it. They know about the basement.
Right. They've known about it forever. They just want to move the house
just
and make
give
it
me
right.
a bid.
Yeah, they're selling it for 62, not 162. That's good stuff.
Exactly.
Hey, Beck, mortgage rates again, they've dropped down about the best now. They've been out of probably the best out of 15 or 18 months. I would say that for sure. But every time there's a slight bump, that means they can also go up very quickly, and you never know.
You hear those, I'm going to wait till they go down.
Can't wait. They're not
We've had
going
these
down
same
anymore.
conversations when we were in 2016 and they were at the floor. You're at 2.875 or lower on a 15-year fix at that point. And, I'm going to wait till they go lower. And those same people end up calling it when they're 4.5. I mean, it's just, why wait? Lock up the money. If it makes sense for you right now, if you have the equity, you can pull the money out if you're trying to do that. If you're just trying to reduce your rate or get rid of the PMI, lock the money down now. It makes sense.
Lock in your savings now.
Stop being greedy. Like, take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And furthermore, we did talk about it. We talk about rates going down. We always talk about rates when they go up. They always go up faster than they go down. They go down very slowly. Then all of a sudden in a day, remember, this is money. It's a commodity. We're trading money every day. It hits a bump and they start going up faster than they came down. So you could lose a week, 2 week, 3 week of a gain, rates going down. In one day, they'll go back up. So if you're not locking in your savings, it's like locking in your profit, okay?
Yes.
Lock in your savings now and just run with it and let it go, and you'll be making a lower payment in 60 days.
So something I want to touch on is I talked to a client and they said, you know, we got a reprice for the worst because it changed. And they said, well, what do you mean the rates changed? You know, they change multiple times. I'm like, depending on what the market's doing, this is a live thing happening. We could close at a 4.5. We could, the next day, the rates could be 4.25, and in the middle of the day, they could change depending on the volatility of the market, and it could, you know, it could be back to 4.5. So if you're talking to us and we have a rate and we are in a position that we can lock in and secure the money, again, what Harry's saying is let's lock it in. Let's make sure we can protect your investment.
Yeah, mortgage-backed securities are traded every day. They're traded on Wall Street every day. In the last 2 days, Friday and Thursday, it's been a little bit more volatile. And we expect that going into next week, the volatility will continue. So lock it in, just especially if you're buying a house. Just lock the rate and forget about it. Go about your business about planning on what you're going to buy for the house after, keyword, after you close.
Yes.
Don't start buying stuff up. Don't go to our van right now and start buying furniture until you close.
You don't need the couch.
I probably shouldn't even tell people that. Don't buy the new car.
No, go buy the Art Van. No, I had my clients look from Art Van yesterday. Go to Art Van and buy what you want. But there's no doubt, hey, we see a lot of clients back. In fact, I'm working with a potential refinance. Michelle, it's pretty interesting. So the guy, the land contract, had the bad situation, the past foreclosures, repossession of cars, bad credit. We get him the mortgage last year, but in mid 600 credit scores. Well, yes, you are stuck with a higher PMI payment.
Right.
But here we are. He never saw it coming. I didn't necessarily see it coming, where we're making the phone calls to the clients who had lower credit scores to say, look, not only is the interest rate a little bit lower, now your PMI could become a little bit lower. And just a simple calculation I did the other day, his PMI was going to be able to drop. It's a big loan amount. It was going to go from $300 a month to about $169.
Wow.
That besides the interest rate dropping. So now we're looking at about $200 to $300 worth of savings easily.
All right,
for
Harvey,
this
I'm going
client.
to do every lender in this area that's listening right now a favor. And
Yes.
they're not going to thank me. There's still on my mouthwash, but did I say that? You ready? You can save your client's MI right now by refinancing, getting them out of the MI.
That's it.
Okay, that's it. Just do it. Just whatever. Call your clients and say,
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
And you
Sorry, everybody out there. Everybody in our office can go, here, I can't believe you said that on the radio. Yeah, it's about saving money, helping people save money. All right. If you got MI, take a look at getting it removed right now.
Yeah.
Give us a call today. We can assist you.
That's just the way it is.
For the public out there, I know, mortgage insurance is what you need when you have less than 21%
Just
down?
20%.
20%. Okay, 20%.
But you also can put, so less down and not have PMI. So give us a call and we can talk about that. We
There's
have
lender
a
paid MI.
plethora of options that
Love
are
that
going to
word.
suit your individual needs.
All right, so many opportunities out there. Get yourself educated. Keep your 97.1 The Ticket. We're up against a quick break, but when we come back, all your calls, 248-539-9797. Hour of the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, again brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. That's where you can find John and I all week long. 1-800-LOW-RATE. That's 1-800-569-7283. Always there to help you, give you some great information. Again, whether you're buying your first house, your second home, or that vacation home, call Capital Mortgage Funding. We'd love to help you out. And John, of course, we're all licensed in different states across the United States here, and I'm doing a little bit of Florida lately, which is good. It's been really fun.
It's a great state to lend in. You just got to deal with that transfer tax on every single transaction. Unlike Michigan, who doesn't have it on refinances, Florida does, but that's because they don't have a state income tax.
Yeah, that's a great point. That it is very affordable to refinance here in Michigan. You can't flip a refinance in New York without spending $5,000 to $10,000 on fees. Same with Florida, though. It is a little bit more expensive. The intangible tax kicks in, and the transfer tax on purchases, of course. So, give us a call. We'd like to share all this great information with you. 1-800 here in the studio 248-539-9797. Kyle, we always talk about the different house out there. What's exciting in real estate now? I mean, if you could give us a little scenario about maybe someone you're working with. Of course, they're approved. Now they've picked out, you got them set up on the MLS where they can go ahead and scan the houses and see which ones they like. So give me a little step-by-step out there for maybe a new buyer, and they're about to meet that agent today.
Right, for sure. So right now, everyone is loving ranches. If you have a ranch that's in a good area with a decent price point, it's going to go multiple offers most likely in one weekend. And I think, too, it's so dynamic, and anybody could live in a ranch, right? Whether you're empty nesters, just retired, looking for something a little bit smaller, or you're young folks just starting out, you don't need a lot of space, single guy, young couple, something like that. Ranches are really popular for them. And then also, too, we have growing families that are still looking for your traditional 3-4 bedrooms. Cape Cods are really popular right now because you have, your master's on the main floor. Then you can put the kids upstairs, especially if you have older kids. So, they're kind of away from mom and dad.
They can't sneak out.
Right, unless they jump out the window or something like that.
Then they've earned it.
That's really fun, though, and you've seen a lot of step-up buyers now that you've been in it for a longer time now. Are you seeing that situation where if the families that bought just 5 or 6 years ago, they have this chunk of equity, are they now calling and saying, Kyle, we're ready, we got a 2 or 3 year old?
I just posted a video about this on Facebook the other day. It's so common now where people that have bought within the last 4 or 5 years, they're seeing their equity has maybe even doubled, that they're like, all right, let's sell this now, let's use this equity to get into our
Entry online games and up to $100 in free play. Knowing your limits is always the best bet.
The only way you can take 97.1 The Ticket with you is the radio.com app. Download it today and listen to us anytime, anywhere.
97.1 The Ticket.
Good music.
Here we are. We're back. 9:44 if you're just joining us. We're going to take all your calls here on the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. 248-539-9797. Our breaks are even going fast. The show goes fast. Our breaks go fast.
A lot of energy in this room. You're
know.
missing it.
Crazy.
We're excited for our good sunny days.
This is one of these
High kicks.
real estate. Like if you were buying a house or selling a house and you could just jump in here and hang out with us all day, you would learn a lot about mortgages and real estate. I think that's really the missing part is if you don't have that close connection, if you don't feel comfortable with calling and pick up the phone and calling your mortgage guy, call me at midnight. I mean, my phone's out there. My cell phone's out there. I
True
don't
that.
care. Call me. If I'm up, I'm ready to talk about mortgages and real estate.
There
It
are
is
so
fun and
many
exciting.
moving parts in a transaction, and we can't expect people that don't do it 10, 20, 30 times a day to understand it. Okay?
Right.
So we get it. We understand that you don't understand it. We'll go over it with you because there are so many moving parts. And you talk about, you know, on a purchase agreement or an inspection or on a seller's disclosure, we talk about water.
Yeah.
Favorite topic here, whether it's good or bad. It's either rainy or you're on the water in Michigan. Somewhere there's going to be water.
Yeah.
But Michelle brought up a great point during the break, and we've said it many times. There's nobody that hasn't had a water situation in their basement. If you don't have a basement, then you don't have a water problem. But you've had a water problem in the basement, right?
If you buy a home with a basement, 99% of the time, you will have water some way, shape, or form. A drain, a sump pump, a gutter comes off. Low grade.
Your hot water heater could
your
break
hot
too,
water
by the way.
takes a crap.
Rust out.
A rod hole,
Right.
so common and easily repairable for lifetime warranties with epoxy. Like people freak out on rod holes.
Right, so-
Don't.
but people shouldn't freak
know?
out about some water, some dampness in the
No.
basement. People always do.
It
So they
happens.
say that. They
Right.
go, a crack in the foundation. I mean, there are serious problems. I'm not, making light of the situation. There could be, but most of the time, it's a very easy repair.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it totally is, and that's so that's what we were just talking about. We were talking about the rain, and this is a great time to look at waterfront. If you're thinking about waterfront, you're not going to find water higher than it has been in the past 40 years than right now.
Yeah.
So it'll give you a little bit of peace of mind, safety, and security to know, okay, is it currently leaking? Has it been fixed? What's going on? It's been epic rain. Like, did the sump pump fail? I don't know.
It's like 120 days of rain or something.
You've
crazy like
got,
that.
this is like the best time to find something if you're worried
if
about
there's
water.
a low-level area in your neighborhood, right, and there's always a pond there, right. If there's not today, then definitely that's maybe a good buy.
Right. Is the low level your driveway? Let's find out.
Definitely no. Hey, let's move off to some calls here, guys. We got, hey, I think it's David on his cell phone. Good morning, David. Welcome to our show. What's your question, sir?
Hey, how you doing?
Real
Morning.
Good. Question is, if you're in the middle of a bankruptcy and you want to buy a house, is land contract and rent to own your only options?
Typically, it is. I don't want to say only, but yeah, there's no doubt that if you have a seller that wants to contribute and maybe finance the home for another year or two until you're able to get that mortgage. So my question to you is: are you just in the middle of going through the bankruptcy right now?
Correct. And I'm living in a mobile home, but the rent is as high as a mortgage payment. So
Yeah. Do you have some money, David, you're working with? Like if you stumbled upon a house, let's say, and was in your price range.
Hey, bro, be careful. He's in the middle of a bankruptcy. He's already disclosed his assets.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm not an attorney. I don't put it on the radio, but he's already disclosed it, right, David? You've had to disclose everything that you've had and what you owe, correct?
Correct. And I work
There you go.
full time and I make decent money. But the thing is, when you do a land contract, you do have to give them $15,000 up front.
Or whatever you agree to.
Or
Yeah, it's whatever you agree to.
contract holder wants, right?
And 9% interest.
Well, that's again.
Yeah, but
That's
here,
negotiable.
Yeah.
yeah, but David, here's the problem. Okay, you're in the middle of a bankruptcy, and I don't know that you can be too picky about your interest rate.
Right.
You want to get. Here's what you want to do. You want to try to put all that behind you. I'm not the first person that's told you this. You want to get all that behind you, get your life on go, and move forward. So if you have to take a little higher rate from a land contract holder, 7, 8, 9%, okay, and it fits your budget and you can make it work, then in a year or two, then maybe we can get you out of that 7, 8, 9%.
Which bankruptcy are you filing? Is it 13?
It's a 13, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's going to be, 2 years. Possibly if you have good payment history, you can get out of it early. So, it's something that we can definitely talk about. But obviously, like what he's saying is get yourself in a, lot, where you need to be. If you're comfortable with the house, maybe you can renegotiate with this land contract holder.
Get the bad stuff behind you and get your life going forward. And
That's right, but that's what he told me, 2 years or 3 years after when it's over, then refinance in a 30-year or a 15-year and
Correct.
flip it that
Right.
way.
Then you're
That's right.
mortgageable, right? Because then you're mortgageable and you could pay him off. So basically, the mortgage to pay off the land contract is a refinance transaction, and you'd be able to get an FHA loan, even pull some equity out, pay off the land contract, and take some equity out in the future. So yes, we're really positive. Although it's not a mortgage, we like the idea of home ownership for you.
Yeah.
We think there's so many advantages for you, and like Harry said, get your life on go again.
All right, cool. Well, you guys have a good day.
You got
Appreciate it.
thanks.
Good luck.
Call.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you very much.
All righty, do the right thing. Again, these are all negotiable terms. Definitely have an attorney work with you, a real estate attorney. They don't charge a ton of money to work on that land contract agreement. So you got the land contract basic agreement you can pick up at a title company, but then you've got the additional addendums that specify all the terms on the land contract. This is the most important thing. And you must document the money you put down. You have to get a mortgage person involved really now.
You you can even get a real estate agent involved.
Sure.
That they can draft your land contract for you, and we will make sure that all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed. Deed is held in escrow.
Perfect.
Or
Yeah,
whatever
we're gonna
you
have
need.
Michelle call you because it's important to understand your contracts. It's important to understand that doctor lingo that we understand that maybe sounds foreign to you. It's important to talk to the right people and let us assist you.
And then
Fantastic
and
stuff.
then Harvey, how many
Yes.
land contracts have we had recently? Make the same payment every month at the same time.
Right. Stay organized. Get more people. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't. People say, well, what do you mean, Harry? It says $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes, Michelle, people will make $900, then they'll make $1,100, then they'll make $700, then they'll make $1,300. No, that's not how this works. If it says $1,000 a month, pay $1,000 a month and keep track of the payments.
Yes.
You know what the trick is on that is something goes wrong with the house. So they call up a land contract holder and they say, hey, look, I've got to now fix the roof. So I'm only going to pay you $600 a month, not the $1,000 I agree. No,
Wrong.
Yes.
You can't do it that way.
It's a paper trail nightmare, and make sure that you're writing checks and there's a way for us to see these payments. Because when you want to refinance, if that's the case, or if you're going to end up selling it, we're going to ask for 12-month proof of payments. It's a must. You can't get around it, and we have to document it. Make it easy on yourself. Don't self-sabotage.
From a selling standpoint,
Yes.
make sure you keep in communication with your land contract holder and know who that individual is, because we need to satisfy that land contract to sell the property.
Yeah, so if they move to Guam, we need to find them.
We need to find that person. Yeah. And like Becky said, keep track of your payments, because if they send a payoff in that is not accurate for what you're showing, you need to have that conversation. And
Let's move off to another call, guys. We got Tony out there, and I believe in Southfield. Hey, Tony, good morning. Welcome to our show.
Hey, how are you?
Real good.
Tony.
What's happening, Tony?
I've been in my house since '99. I paid $163.5 for it, and I'm locked in at the same rate at 6.5% where I'm at right now. I've got a little over $10,000 in debt, and I've got a lot of equity in my house.
The answer is yes.
I've got.
The answer to your
Pardon me?
question is yes, Tony. The answer is
Okay.
yes. You should do something.
I want to hear more, though, Tony. Keep going.
Okay. So I own a little over $91,000 on it. The house is valued at a little over $225 right now. I want to move to Florida in less than a year when my son graduates college here in Michigan.
Okay.
He wants to be in Florida. Do I refinance right now to get into something like in the low threes, or do I just wait until I want to sell and move?
Well, number one, do you want to pay off that debt that you owe?
I do want to pay off
Okay.
that debt.
So here's the issue. Even though, and the caveat always is, first question is, how long do you plan on being in the house? We already know he's going to be in there 12 months. Here's the issue with that. Even though it's a short period of time, you're paying 6.5%, which is higher than the market rate currently on a mortgage.
Quite a bit.
And you've got $10,000 worth of debt that you're paying way more than 6.5% on, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So that's why I said the answer is yes. You got to do something now, and you'll save the money, and you're not taking that much out of the house in equity. But here's the thing. I would do it now. Again, like I said to the last caller, get it going now so your savings is now. And then you're wiping out the debt. The key also is on that debt, don't run it up again.
Yeah,
Once you pay it off, keep the balance at zero.
You have enough time to give
It's so much easier said than done, you know?
I know. Well, I'll come over out with the scissors. We'll cut up the cards for you.
I'm going to say this on
Yeah.
there because I want to follow up with Tony after the show. There's
Yeah.
no doubt. Tony, the key is also, because you might be out of there in a year or two, is to pay. Yeah, people get trapped into thinking that they're going to get the lowest interest rate. The lowest interest rates come with the most amount of discount points. You would never recoup that money. So an uneducated person getting a mortgage would do the wrong thing, where we're going to advise you, Tony, we're going to make you an offer that if you move in 8 months, you've already recouped the money. If
Right.
you move in 16 months versus someone convincing you, Tony, the wrong thing, that the interest rate is better at 3.5 than it would be at 4, which is not true in your case, because you don't want to pay that kind of money to obtain a low interest rate because you're not going to keep it that long.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I've never been a risk taker, and this has been my one lifetime home and one lifetime investment.
Right.
Where I put the $50,000 down on the 163, in '99.
Good job.
And at this point in my life, where I'm 57 years old, and I look at my mortgage statement, and it's only $91,000 that I've left on the house, and I've got all that equity. It almost scares me a little bit to do anything because I've never been in this sort of a good position. I mean,
well, you'll be in a better position financially after you have it done, because chances are what we can do for you at the 6.5, getting you out of the 6.5 and paying off that 10 grand is going to be either the same payment you're making now or a lower payment.
Right, and then Michelle can give you a call and we can, talk about the sale, because obviously you're not that far off from putting it on the market, and so we can kind of wrap it all together to make sure that we are putting you in the right game plan.
Tony, it was a great call. Thank you very much. I want to thank all the callers for calling in today. Another fast version of the Hardcore Mortgage Show. We want to thank Michelle Sayward. Hey, Michelle, you're always so great.
She's a pro.
Michelle, I wrote half a show because I know you bring in so much information. There is a difference, folks. It's just not hire a real estate agent. It's hire a true professional. Michelle Sayward, eXp Realty. That would be a good start. For Michelle, hey, for Becky Alley, always a ball of energy. And thanks for getting here, Becky, via canoe.
Yeah, via canoe. All that water.
For compliance, Liz, if you're listening,
That's right.
Equal housing lender, NMLS number 2289.
There you go.
Independent Mortgage.
All right, catch us at Capital Mortgage all week long. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. We got sports coming up, social commentary. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. See you next Saturday.